Hi everyone, my name is Dana and my earring just got caught on my shirt. And this is episode 24 of the Ask a Question show, the show in which you ask a question about any type of narcissistic or otherwise abusive or toxic relationship or situation, and I, along with the rest of the community here, will do our very best to help answer it. Our goal is to give you the feedback and the support that you need so that you can move forward in getting the clarity, the closure, and the healing that you so deserve. And so today's question comes from Anonymous, and Anonymous asks, Dear Dana, I have a question regarding healing from a relationship with a narcissist. I'm fairly certain my ex is a covert narc, or at least an extremely passive aggressive and manipulative person. This is not only because of how his behavior fits into the description, but also how my emotional situation coming out of the relationship has been. One of the main struggles I'm having at the moment is feeling like I can't be trusted in picking out worthwhile relationships and non toxic people. I've become socially secluded and paranoid, aside from three people who have shown me that they deserve my trust. I'm working with a therapist at the moment, but I was wondering if you could address this topic either in your email or on your YouTube channel. So, okay. I guess first things first, the way that you feel, although it totally sucks, is totally normal. It's a totally normal response to a totally abnormal situation. I just want you to know that. I think, I think I've yet to ever encounter somebody who didn't feel that way after one of these kinds of relationships. I, myself included, for sure. It took me my whole sense of judgment big time was really rattled after Jack, and that lasted probably about a good 2 years. And it wasn't like to a crippling degree, but I really second guessed myself because I just didn't see him coming. So, it's normal. The paranoia, again, totally normal. I felt like I was losing my mind. I didn't trust people that had never done me wrong. Like, I didn't trust my family. People that had been really good to me. I just had a really hard time trusting people. I felt like if Jack had some sort of hidden agenda, then who else did? And I just didn't know which end was up. So again, I think that that's really normal when you're dealing with somebody who's really manipulative and has a double life or a hidden agenda, and you kind of come across it. So you will probably most likely work through that. I don't know if I've ever encountered anybody that really hasn't worked through that. So kind of take some comfort in that as well. That just knowing this is just part of it. Your body, your brain especially, is just trying to process all of this confusing information. And like if you think of your brain, it's kind of like a giant computer, and it's trying to just make sense of all of this data that's nonsensical. And so it just kind of slows everything down, right? Because it's just like trying to figure out how does 1 plus 1 equal 2, and it doesn't. And so it's sort of like your brain goes like 1 plus 1 equals 3 does not compute. 1 plus 1 equals 3 does not compute, and then it just kind of keeps running these loops trying to just make sense of everything, and kind of getting past that. It takes time, and getting to the point where you feel like you want to leave the house. Again, that's also very normal. I think a lot of people go through that. I definitely went through that as well. I don't know if you're having this as well, but I think a lot of people too have night terrors and severe anxiety. I would wake up screaming and crying. I don't normally have dreams that are that intense, but it was just, and they weren't even like bad dreams. They were just intensely emotional dreams, and it was just really, that was hard. But again, it will pass. It's just try to fill up your life with a lot of joy. Like, okay, here's kind of my theory on this. Like, and maybe it's not even mine. Like, maybe it's an existing theory that I read that I forgot I read about, which is could totally happen. So, but here is the theory that might be mine. And that is, it's like that emotions, like if you imagine them, like if you're trying to evoke a certain emotion, right? Like the opposite of what you have. So like if you, like for example, like if you're feeling fearful, like the opposite of fear is gratitude. So that's like a great antidote to fear. And that's something that I kind of noticed when I was going through everything, although I wasn't able to like really articulate it until fairly recently, but that's really helpful. So feeling really, unloved and unimportant and full of my, and like really blinded by your own pain, what I was doing a lot is I was volunteering a lot. So I like blinded by my own pain, getting out of my pain, helping others, was a great antidote to like pull me out of that. The opposite of depression is joy, or at least laughter. So when I started to feel depressed, which was a lot, I watched a lot of comedies during that time. I freaking loved Dave Chappelle. I watched so much Dave Chappelle. I really wish like he had 1,000 more episodes because he's hilarious. I watched a lot of South Park. I watched just a lot of kind of comedy that was just silly and wasn't like heavy, or you know what I mean. So that really helped kind of pull me out of depression. Just kind of trying to evoke the opposite emotion of what you're feeling is a great kind of like life hack kind of way to pull yourself out of that. So that's just kind of my tip for you with kind of pushing through this point in your life. And then you ask, how does a person tell what's healthy in a relationship after an experience like this? Well, okay, that is a fantastic question. Again, I think we all struggle with that. And a lot of it is what you maybe were doing before. This is what I was doing before. I had this idea of boundaries and standards and kind of where mine were. And I think we all do. Like we all have kind of this idea of like stuff that would be deal breaker stuff for us. And it's interesting to listen to other people and kind of what they would consider deal breaker kinds of stuff. So for example, when I was working at the domestic violence shelter, we would have some women come in where their line, they had maybe been badly beaten up. This would happen like 6 times or so a year. But their whole thing was they would never tolerate, if you started drinking again, that was their line. Like that's when they would leave. Or somebody else would say, like, if you ever touched my kids, I would leave. So like, even though we might put up with a lot of abusive behavior, we all kind of still have our own line in the sand. And so it's really good to examine, where is that? Like, where are you currently? And then to think about, like, where do you need to be? And so kind of where were you going wrong before? And to get really crystal clear as much as possible as to where your boundaries and standards are before you definitely start dating again. But, even with like your friends, and kind of think about, where am I going wrong? Am I doing things like, am I spending time with people that I don't really want to spend time with? Do I allow myself to be manipulated through like guilt and pity and shame? Kind of what's not working for me? Where are my weak points with that? Where am I finding myself kind of repeating these patterns and these different types of toxic behaviors? And how can I pull myself out of that? So like identifying healthy behaviors would kind of be what you find in your boundaries and standards, right? So for example, healthy behaviors, and then, well, okay, so like, so we know like toxic behaviors, right, are like lying, cheating, stealing, where a person is going to basically take the power and control away from you. It's going to be all about them. They're going to decide how fast the relationship goes, and you don't have a say. So a healthy person would be the exact opposite, right? So a healthy person is going to respect your boundaries, they're going to respect your standards, and they are going to easily meet and exceed them. And they're going to do what they say they're going to do. They're going to be on time. They're going to have, maybe they won't be on time. A lot of people aren't on time, but they're going to have pretty reliable behavior. By and large, I was kind of joking about the whole time thing, but no, honestly, like, let me backtrack a little bit. That's a small way of showing that a person that you respect them. So if a person is showing up, especially like the first couple dates, if there's not like a legitimate reason, if they're showing up late, like that I wouldn't put up with, because then unless they have like a flat tire or something, it just tells the other person like, oh, you're not really a priority, and that's rude. So those are kind of the things that we all need to kind of screen for is, how reliable is this person? How responsible is this person? How communicative is this person? What are you feeling as far as level of confusion? Healthy people don't have a pattern of confusing behavior. You shouldn't feel a lot of confusion around them. There might be times where there is a miscommunication, right? But that's easily cleared up. There is no like evoking strange emotions or things not making sense or needing to talk to other people to kind of work through what happened. Like if you're kind of going through that, then that's a sign that there's a problem. Any person that's really dramatic or causing like pot stirring or causing any type of like destructive crazy behavior. Now keep in mind too, a person doesn't have to be full out narcissist in order to really, first of all, they don't have to be a full out narcissist to like destroy your life, and they don't have to be a narcissist to not be right for you. So it's really important. A person can be a totally like normal, decent, nice, healthy person and still not be somebody that you want to be friends with or somebody that you want to date. And that's totally okay. Like you don't need to kind of hyper correct, right? I see a lot of people do this. I did it too, where you kind of think, well, I should be attracted to that kind of person and I'm not, so there must be something wrong with me. And the reality is, no, not necessarily. Like not everybody's clicks with everybody else, and that's kind of what it is. I mean, there is that certain element of chemistry. So I know lots of people that are, normal, decent, well-balanced, grounded people that I think really highly of that I would never date in a million years because there's just not that chemistry there. Or, and sometimes maybe there even is that chemistry, but we don't have enough in common. So that's kind of, I think, part of developing like healthy boundaries and standards. It's not just about behavior, but it's about kind of life direction and, do they have kind of the same goals and the same, morals and values as you? Are you on the same page with, how do you feel about having children or taking on stepchildren or spending time with family or different religions? Kind of getting really clear about what it is that you really want in other people in your life. So I think that's a really good place to start. Again, a lot of it's, don't get rattled if you kind of get back out there and if you come across some more of the wrong people. It probably will happen. There's lots of wrong people out there. The whole kind of, finding like your tribe, finding your people it's a process because you're a special and unique little snowflake, right? And you need to find other little special, unique snowflakes that are just like you. And that takes some time, it takes some doing. And so don't get ruffled by that. Don't internalize that and think that there's something really wrong with you. Really, I think at the end of the day, it's, for me personally, I'm a pretty outgoing, friendly person. Out of every 20 or so people that I meet, there might be one, maybe, that I would want to hang out with on a somewhat regular basis. So, you just kind of gotta just keep things light and just kind of meet people and get to know them, and don't rush into it to where it's awkward if you kind of realize, oh, whoa, I thought we had stuff in common, but no, we totally don't. So I got to get out of here, because then you don't want to hurt their feelings and you don't want them to hurt yours, right? Because to not realize that you guys aren't clicking, and you want to value your time and you want to value your emotions. So I hope that kind of helps. And just take things slow. Be really kind to yourself right now. You deserve it. You went through a lot. So these relationships are really intense, but you really can rebuild. You can go on to have an amazing life with amazing people in it. It's sort of one of those things. It's like once we know better, then we do better. And it's just kind of, and we're always going through that cycle. There is never like an end point. Life is always going to be full of lessons. It's always going to be full of challenges. The most difficult people in our lives are oftentimes the best teachers. And I will tell you, from what I went through, I never thought in a million years I would say this, but I went through absolute hell. Two of these relationships almost back to back in like a 5-year span of time. And on top of that, I went through, it was a lot. I went through a miscarriage. I went through a bankruptcy and a foreclosure. And it was like my whole life just fell apart. Like it was just like dominoes. It just didn't end. So, but I will tell you though, now that I'm out of that, looking back on that time in my life, it was definitely hands down one of the most transformative experiences in my life. And I have learned so much from it that I wouldn't trade those experiences at all. So just try to focus on learning what you can from it. Then that way, I think you'll have a lot more peace too with moving on, because it won't be, you'll be able to realize, yes, this did in fact happen to you, but that there was a lot of benefit in it for you if you can squeeze that out of it. I hope that helps. So take care. I will hope you keep in touch and let us know how you're doing. And so if anybody else has any questions, comments, concerns, frustrations, insights, ideas, you need some support, you just want to say hi, please don't be a stranger. Let me know. Contact info is down below, and I will talk to you guys later. Okay. As always, you're not alone. So not alone. You're so not crazy. And you really can heal. Okay. Take care.